Tonight we're doing tonight on trends and managing player behaviour, sort of differentiating between I guess deliberate and team trends in a game. So yeah, if we look here, we'll come down. So trend, series of infringement by one team that has occurred and may continue to occur, unfairly preventing the opposing team from playing as they choose. Deliberate infringement, a one-off illegal action that prevents a significant opportunity or breach of defence or score of a try, often referred to as cynical play. So what we're going to do is just, probably don't need to go down the path of writing on a piece of paper, but just chat amongst yourself on what you would see as a trends in a game and deliberate actions in a game, and see what else we can come up with there. And we'll make a list on the whiteboard there and go through it. So yeah, just break yourself up into fours as we usually do, and have a bit of a chat, and then we'll come back and follow off what we've just chatted about.
Socks down, that's down.
Particularly in that red zone?
No, they have on the red zone, don't they? Most of the time, so blind players will slow.
Yeah, that's one of
Making a tackle and making sure you get on the attacking side of the team. Side. Friday Hastings last week, and I must have ruled about 4 o'clock.
Just not quick enough to get the screen.
I just thought, I said they were short Friday. They were short anyway, mate. They'll get it, Heidi.
Down by the nipple line.
One for the whistle. I've had enough, I'm going home.
Typical things offside there. We haven't found out we have 3 different things in the team. Not the same one. Oh, the tree. And Nico was on the other side. We never saw what happened when it ended up down on the 22. A couple of players. The Terravale guys must have smuggled it up.
I can't say, just that guy was just
Oh, yeah.
and you see them, they're looking at you, and they're watching them to take
they're all still
deliberate. What do you guys see?
Stuff when you're about to score a try.
No, there were 50 men away before anybody realised they were gone.
And it was legit, I think, too.
They'll come round from offside and play sort of infringement.
We just gave them
Sort of any sort of infringement that they're doing it all the time.
And they're still doing the old not getting to their feet, eh?
Oh, we've got all those trends.
So Destiny's out, and they come back blind to his side, where he was standing there. Went there and he just slapped it down. I got told in review that he should have been yellow carded for that, and that was my fault. So like stuff like that, like slap down, it doesn't even have to be an active scoring try.
Was that on the weekend?
Nah, his first round.
Is that what that happened on the weekend?
Yeah, on weekend two, same thing, and because I was at that game too, and I was like, shit, that's exactly what happened in my game, so it'd be interesting to see how they review that and say if that's a yellow card as well.
Because
They
I
clearly
actually
had
was-
issues with their comms gear, right?
Yeah, they had it from the start.
Yeah,
So
because I saw
Where was the
Brendan at the first call of the game, he was like,
yes, that's right.
push your button, Brendan, push your button.
Because if you see at the start of the game when he walks out, Russ is like, I can hear you,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
can't hear me.
yeah,
So
yeah.
It's a flop.
That's
It's called flopping.
The same with
Schoolboys.
kids are quite quick.
Exactly. He played, he still wants to keep going, but he's tackled to the ground. Tacklers are sensitive when he thinks he can help. He wants to reach out.
You're not going to be able to
So I penalised Mikey, Pirates on the weekend. He's basically slapping him. And he reckons he was trying to slap it and pull it up. And I penalised him. No, he's screaming. No way, you can't do that. No, I didn't hit it down.
So he's running it.
if they snap it forward and up,
Nothing I noticed.
then you've got to charge up to the realistic position.
Yeah, that was my reply to him. I said, you're never ever going to catch him.
You see half the time when they chase it or
Not
not.
the action.
They chase the ball.
Just coming and cleaning out
I had a
through the
guy
side because
who
they've
was
got the
he just
Okay,
Okay, another minute, guys, and then we'll get back into it.
Runs off.
We're going to discuss it.
He goes off the line out the ball, and then he was off, and the half was still and near like number 8 at the back line trying to run. He goes for it, palm up, so he can catch it. As soon as it hits his hand, he stopped running. So they had no effort to catch it, so as his palm up, and that's when he was coming that stream.
Okay, we'll get into it. So,
Game this year.
first one we're going to cover off. I'll just go around the room. Trends. What would be considered like trends in a game? What are we looking for?
Knock on.
That's unlucky.
Offsides.
Offsides. Okay. I haven't got school teacher writing.
Not rolling.
Not rolling.
So that could be slowing the ball down.
Yep.
There's lots of ways you can do that. Teams will train this too, like different ways to slow the ball down and try and do it legally.
What else we got?
Tackles, high tackles.
Yep.
More dangerous tackles.
Probably all of those is just the red zone infringements, I think.
Yep. Where we are. What else we got down here?
Oh, scrum, the non-feeding team, the scrum's going down on the other side.
Yep,
More than
yep.
anything, so.
So props. Collapse.
So trends can be amount of penalties.
Yep.
And a time frame probably you put.
Yep. Zone. Other penalties. Yeah. Time frame. What else? We got down here. Yep. Tackle not rolling away. Repeated offsides, several foul play incidents, repeated collapsing of a maul. Collapsing maul, slowing down the ball when under pressure, going backwards inside of 22. Too many penalty kicks, yeah, across the board, exactly what you were talking about. Deliberate. Who's going to start it off? Harvey? Oh, yep, where we go?
Knockdowns.
Deliberate knockdown?
Deliberately picked me.
Covered for you, mate.
Playing the half.
Playing the half?
Playing half deck and playing half deck.
Yep. What else we got?
Deliberately like killing the ball at a ruck when they've just made a big line break or
Yep,
something.
so obviously we talked about like a zone here.
Yeah.
What zone, you know? Yeah, so obviously wherever you are on the field, obviously if you're, someone's killing the ball and they're inside their own half, then that's just stupid. But if they're doing it inside their own 22, then they're doing it for a reason. So. What else?
Holding off the ball, like holding someone off the ball,
Yep, playing off the ball.
punching.
Foul play. Yep.
Offside. I know that's in the, if they're in the zone.
Yep,
Offside.
continuous. Yep.
Or just deliberately.
A
offside.
deliberate onside. Yep.
If your number's down under the pump.
Yep.
Then the referee's not watching and they'll just stand offside and get away with it. Sure.
So what we've got down here is deliberately collapsing a scrum. That is probably going to be a pushover try. Deliberately catching a well-formed maul that you've not been able to legally stop, as in either 5-10 metres out. Taking out or holding back a support player. Yep. Deliberately not rolling away after a line break. What are our likely actions for the deliberates? Yellow card.
Sometimes a PT,
Sometimes
penalty tries.
penalty try. Yep. So what are our, apart from our senior refs, if we give a yellow card, what also do we have to do? If we give a penalty try, what else do we have to do?
Do you have to yellow card?
The laws of the game say that if you issue a penalty try, you must also admonish that player as well.
It's hard to do at scrum time though.
What's that?
Malls
If
rolling
it's a
in.
scrum, how do you pick one player to yellow
Take
card?
the whole eight off.
Yeah, agree. But I guess the law book does state. I know we've got to make our own decisions sometimes.
Yeah, I know that Jowsey, that's what the law says, but that's sometimes where we've got to use our rugby brain, and
Yeah.
and the law book gets parked to the side, and our rugby brain has got to then say, okay, is this good for the game, or does that actually deserve, is a penalty try ruled enough?
Yeah.
I had it in my game, Clive Tech. I just binned one of the Clive boys, and then very next scrum they push over, get a penalty try because the boys stand up and they, and then in 30 seconds they're down to 13 guys. I don't think it was worth being 13. 14, yes, definitely. So that's where a rugby decision has to come in outside of the rule book.
Well, the scenario says you might not get a number, you've seen them first,
Yeah.
you haven't got a number.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, no, good call. Good call. So deliberate infringements, one-off incident, one-off sanction, PK, yellow card, penalty try. A warning is not appropriate as the offence has already happened and has already affected the game. How many infringements is too many before we start managing a trend?
2 depending on the flow of the game.
flow again, we'll constantly stop.
Yeah. So just have a little chat amongst yourself once again. Obviously, you know, if we're getting repeated penalties in a game, you know, all we seem to be doing is penalties. How far is it before you? How far is it, and what do we do to manage a situation? I.e., so we don't have to go to yellow cards, or yeah, have a chat amongst yourself and see what you can come up with.
That's in a short period of time. If it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes a game, it's totally subjective.
I suppose it's where it is on the field, like normally in the red zone, if you get the next back.
Yeah, but then 10 minutes later, back in the red zone, they'd have to do it again. They're doing it.
Or you hear the talk from them, but there wasn't no problem for the same up front.
You kind of have to say,
If they do the same,
and then the next one,
isn't
Get right back.
Oh, right. So even if the, not the coaching in the red, I think it's a red zone, full circles, a lot of the ball twice, for example.
Basically, you are coaching.
Talk to the captain and say, hey, mate, she's running, going to get it, or why do you do that?
Do you take your penalties or have you? I've never been very good.
I don't count them as such, but I'm like it's more of a witness thing. Sometimes if I generally count them as
I think it's what Dan was saying, though, it's just sort of like that, you know, that rugby awareness is like, you know when you have like 2, 3, like generally, if you're down on 22, 1, 2, 3, penalties, and then the fourth one, and you better change your way, otherwise, you know. Oh yeah, man.
I don't want to, both of us have been doing the same thing. It's when they go do it again, so you know.
if you give them warning, the next one you have to otherwise it's going to last till really so if you can avoid sometimes actually saying so you've pretty much warned but it's not if you've got that lengthy opportunity for the new guys to go. I don't think it has to be in 3 zones. Oh, maybe 3, even if you do the number of 3. If it's 3 on site, it's just down. The other it's a trend just
Defensive area where they want to put pressure on the kick, you know.
No, he was
Okay. Sounds like there's some good chat going on out there. So I think firstly we'll cover off. How many Tips? I heard some good chat from you. How many penalties should we allow before we start looking at our options?
Probably just before that. Like, I haven't been aware in the previous years, but this year more aware on how many. So, like, if it's like the second one and it's offside and it's been 3 minutes or something, like quite a short time frame, then I'd be making it clear that it's the second one. rather than just penalising an offside again, but make it clear that's the second one. You haven't officially warned them or anything, but you've made it really clear to everyone that it's already becoming a trend. And then for me, the third one's sort of the one where you'd be trying to give a warning. Depends on the time frame. If there's a bit more time spread out between those two and then the next one, then you might not warn, but if it's quite close, then you'll be going into that sort of that warning stage. Sometimes you can avoid, if you're quick enough with your words, to not say the next one's going to be a yellow card. But if you say it, then make sure that the next one is a yellow card, otherwise they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. So Rito, just touching there. So obviously, if we've had 3 or 4 quick penalties, I'm personally against using exactly what you said, Teeps, and using the term next one will be yellow, because sometimes you back yourself into into a corner that you just leave yourself wide open. It might be sort of like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes has elapsed, and the opposition captain's heard you say, well, hang on, but you said the next one, for that offence is gone. How do you manage it, Rita?
Are we talking just general penalty counts for
Yep, general penalty. Yeah. So let's say we've had sort of 15 minutes in a game. We're in being down inside the half, getting into red zone, and we've had repeated penalties.
So red zone, only 15 minutes and it's repeated, I'd definitely be issuing a warning.
Yep.
When I do issue those warnings, if I am pretty much suggesting next one's yellow, I will try to make sure that it is only me and that captain talking and the other captain is not there. Just for that reason of I don't want him knowing that I've told him basically the next one's going, so I still have that freedom to, I guess, not be backed into that corner. But yeah, if there's been quite a few in the red zone after 15 minutes, then yeah, I'll definitely be issuing that warning and be pretty much saying next one's yellow if it's that early on and that many penalties.
Yeah. So just remember, we don't need to say, and I know you probably wouldn't anyway, but we don't have to say, look, the next one's yellow.
No.
We can say, look, there's been repeated infringements. There's been too many. You're not going to leave me, I don't want to have to go any further, or what the next option is if we keep going down the penalty path. So you sort of like paint a picture without putting the word yellow in there if you don't have to.
Just ask that question at the end as well. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it just puts it back on them. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like if it's a team thing, make sure they go away and have a chat with their team, or say, look, go away and have a chat. Because if you just leave it up to, like, if a good captain would actually go away, pull his troops in, and go, hey, look, we need a change. Otherwise, we're going to have men off the paddock. So just make sure they have a chat.
So one thing I do on that, Jowsey, is I at the coin toss, because you've only got 2 captains there.
Yep.
They do the toss, they do their thing, and then I reiterate to them then that I like to referee a fast open game. Most teams want to play fast and open. They like to hear that as well. And then I say, if I'm being involved in the game, that means discipline's not right. And I leave it up to them and I say that you guys control your discipline. If I'm not involved, then everything's going good.
Yeah.
And then if it does come to that situation where they are getting the penalties, I say this is what we talked about pre-game, blah, blah, blah. So just to reiterate to them again, so that it's going through their mind even before they hit the field.
Yeah.
So that could be something I know that someone else could use, or I don't know. But that's what I use anyway. So.
Yeah. No, good, cool. So difference between team trends, same player infringing. How do we get that across?
The number's less. If it's the same player, you'd be warning him earlier on than if it's team giving away penalties. So for me, I know it'd be same player's given away 2 penalties, then he's on a warning basically, an individual warning.
Yeah.
Versus a team might give away 4, depending on the time period, 4 or 5 before you give a team sort of warning.
Yeah. So I had Pirates and Clive on the weekend. I issued a warning to Pirates probably in about the first 15 minutes of the first half. We got to about 5 minutes into the second half, and Josh Kiefer comes up to me and says, weren't they on a team warning? I'm like, No, mate, that was bloody half an hour ago. So just, just don't think because you've issued a warning that you actually have to go further with a card, all right? You can issue a warning in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, and if, well, in my eyes, if a good amount of time has elapsed, then you sort of like, well, not let them off it, but your leniency will go up, I guess. So time between infringements is really important as well.
You can sort of say to them, look, like say if it was the first half, first 15 minutes, like you're winning in the second half, kind of get a clean slate. But if the same infringement happens again early on, then you can maybe talk to the captain and go, look, it was 30 minutes ago where we had you on a warning.
Yep.
Maybe now we're back on. It depends what it is, but so that they don't get led away with it in the second half as well. But have that chat. It might be two rather than one. One might be a bit.
Should we have different standards for, because once again, we're not just talking about Premier Rugby, should we have different standards for schoolboy rugby?
Still talk to them.
Jared?
Well, my view is, you can be a little bit more lenient, I guess, and still talk to them and ask them, you give them a little bit more leniency.
Absolutely.
It could be 2 or 3 more penalties before you really start going.
Correct. I mean, I guess, schoolboy rugby, they're eager, they've got a lot more testosterone going around in their body. They're probably going to not listen to you as much as what some older boys in that maybe would. Certainly give them a little bit of leniency, but, I guess if you have to, you have to. But certainly a schoolboy game, just try and, the big thing is, and I know Dan's big on this, once again, you got to manage the situation, all right? If you're getting multiple penalties, and we're talking about, schoolboy games now, just pull a captain over and say, hey, look, we're getting, 4 or 5 repeated infringements for the same thing offside. We need to change it. Can you talk to your players about, just taking a step, and then we won't have to go there. So
I was AR for Polly on the weekend.
Yep.
And he was constantly talking to individual players as he sort of, there was a breakdown or a scrum setting. He'd say, I noticed this. I want you to change that. He was constantly doing that right through that whole game.
Yep. So that's what we talk about, man management. I think Polly's one of the better people for doing that. He probably got a little more blunt in his older days, and blunt and direct. But I think Polly was he was so good as a referee because he was a great manager of people.
He got a lot of rest time too for it.
So do you think it was tactical?
I think that came on.
But again, that comes down with a lot of experience.
Yeah.
A huge amount of experience. Polly was like a lot of referees, 20 odd years ago when he first started up, and even after that.
Absolutely.
And he developed that management technique through time.
Yeah.
So you can only see a few newer referees in the room, but management it just comes with time. You don't get that over refereeing 1-2 years of rugby. I think I'm still learning things now. I watch other referees and take things out of their game all the time. Teeps?
I haven't ref many lower grade games for a while, but I had a 12th grade last year.
Yep.
And it was going to be like a cracker of a game, but the penalty count was ridiculous, and I was sort of like, what do I do here? I don't want to yellow card these kids.
Yeah.
It's a great game, but this is ridiculous. So I thought I'd give the Nigel Owens a crack and bring all 30 in. And I recommend it, like that was huge, and you could sort of say like, well, I use it as like.
So how they were 12-year-olds?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I normally would have yellow carded you guys by now. Like, how do you want me to ref? I asked them. I said, do you want me to ref this properly, or do you want me to ref it and just let you get away with everything? And because the penalty count's ridiculous. These are literally what I said. And then they said, oh, we want you to ref it properly. Like, cool. Well, you got to sort it out then. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it had to take that, otherwise it would have been yellow cards.
Did you sound like a Welshman? Did you sound like a Welshman?
And that's just it. They're just kids, aren't they? So you've got to simplify things, and
Just a question.
Yep.
The lower the level of rugby, the grade of rugby, are we more of a coach referee rather than just a referee?
I would say at schoolboy level, anything under
Like schoolboy, like 12th grade, and like when you do those kids levels.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much even look at it from even some of the F grade teams, E grade teams. I mean, those kids are only fresh out of intermediate. You know, I mean, I believe we're referee coaches.
Yeah,
definitely.
rather than just a referee.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to that. Just comes down to that word management again. You know, I mean, rather than having to go to blowing your whistle all day long. I mean, if you can tell them what they're doing, and hopefully you get buy-in from it, then you don't have to go to the whistle. So yeah, I'd say definitely. But you're not going to do that to a senior threes game or a premier game all day long. I mean,
especially not a senior three game.
And so, and vice versa, you've got new and second year referees doing those grades too.
yeah,
Who should referee it the way they see it.
yeah,
as well.
no, definitely.
And one thing linked to that too is, if you do penalise them, actually check that they know what it was that they did wrong.
Yeah.
Don't be frightened of it.
Yeah, particularly with those younger grades. I mean, they honestly they just run around chasing the ball. Some of them, and I mean, I know like so when you get to the under 15s, you know, their skill level starts to come, and they know what they're doing a little bit more. But yeah, under that, it's like you know, try and help them out. Okay, next one. So we've sort of like, yeah, we've pretty much covered this. How long until we reset, and are they back in the clear? So, I mean, the thing that is there is, like we talked about, I mean, if you're, you know, setting the standards in the first 10 minutes, and you dish out a few penalties, and you give you know, you ask for them for buy-in, then if 20 minutes later they haven't infringed and then they infringe, I mean, for me that's, I don't know, in my eyes, that's just play on. It's just it's a one-off incident. Is everyone in favour of that?
Yeah.
Jared,
Yeah,
doesn't
so
sound like it.
what I was just thinking is if it was an issue in the first half and then they start, if I think in the first time they do it in the second half, I've already warned you in the first half, and that's all you need to say, and then they go, oh shit, he's seen that, you know, because I think they're trying you on.
Yeah.
Especially if they're doing it deliberately.
Yeah. So you wouldn't go straight to it?
No, not straight to it. I'd just say, I've already warned you in the first half. Let's get that out of the game. That's right, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah. So it just comes back to comes back to it. You know, just because you've you know, issued a warning, yellow card warning, you don't have to go to that if you know, a period in the game is elapsed. And I mean, that can be, you know, if we start to get, you know, free-flowing rugby and both teams are starting to get into it, then just, you know, let it play. It'll be just a one-off incident. So, what else we got here? Same thing in general. So we've pretty much talked about that. Maybe gone in a roundabout. Maybe we've addressed everything else we've gone on. Now that we've identified some trends, what is our process for managing them? We must be very clear where we're heading. So that's what we talked about so far. You know, if you've got you know, 3 penalties in a row by different players, then we're going to go to the captain. Hey, look, you know, it's just a team warning. We've had too many players offside. Just get them to take a step. If it's number 2, he's been constantly hands in a ruck, then we're going to identify that player and pull the captain out with number 2 and say, look, you know, we had this man 3 in a row now, repeatedly infringing. He needs to do things better, otherwise we may have to do something else. And if you suggest something like that, then generally they're going to change their ways.
Could I just add to the
Yes.
group there about the trends? So if it's normally a team doing the same sort of trend, normally that's a coached tactic
Correct.
to get an advantage.
Yep.
So you need to understand that's what it is, and when you talk to the captain, he'll say, hey, this referee's on to us, we better pull that in.
Yep,
But
exactly.
it's not something that's just occurring because it's occurring, it is a tactic to get an advantage.
Correct. I mean, I think most referees in the room, pretty much in a game, we talk about sort of like setting standards. And in the first 10 minutes of your game, you want to go out and set your standards. So you're going to be a little bit more harder on offside lines than what you might. So it's a matter of setting those standards up early. If they're not wanting to buy into it, then that's obviously when we have to go to something else and either give team warning or individual warning, and then go down the path of anything else that we have to do. So I think we want to go down the path of doing this. Within your groups, role play some trends, scenarios you've identified. We've pretty much talked about it. I don't think we need to go down the path of doing that, but Rito likes role play. Rito does.
You know that saying, the person who nominates?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go, Rito.
It's not what Dan was talking about.
So Dan,
How would you know too?
I know Dan's mind.
So I'm going to throw it back to you, Dan. So is there anything different that you would have done from what we've talked about?
Nah, it's pretty much on the bottom.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So I use different. It depends. It depends what's going on in my mind at the time. But I very rarely will say next one's going to the bin. But I have said on occasions because it's had to be said.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's if you don't change what's happening, someone's going to be having a rest or could possibly be having a rest.
Yeah.
So.
And it's good wording to use. You haven't said you're going to do it, but you've said it could possibly happen. And it comes down to that period in the game that has elapsed from there. And I think as you go on as a referee, you once again what Dan said, you get an idea of what what teams are trying to do, and if teams are trying to be negative or they want to play rugby. I was lucky enough to have a game on the weekend where both teams just wanted to play footy, so I didn't have to do much. We had one scrum in the first half, but they just wanted to play rugby, so it was. I know, one scrum, 23rd minute, and then 45th minute we had our second scrum.
So you better watch that video to make sure you did
Advantage over. 7 style.
You must have a nose as well.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was they just wanted to.
That's unreal.
Yeah, they just wanted to play rugby.
That's
so
it's a dream.
Yeah, I know, and and that is a dream. You turn up to a game and both teams just want to play, and what you see just keep running. So, what else have we got? How I'm messaging, we pretty much just covered this. We need to deliver a message that makes it very clear what the problem is, what needs to change, and what the consequence is. It needs to be specific, but enough so there is no doubt what will happen next. But we don't want to back ourselves into a corner, just like we talked about. Like we said, we don't want to say the next one goes to the bin. The message needs to be easy for the captains to explain to the team. You need to change your behaviour. Doesn't mean much to anyone other than the refs. So, that's pretty much what we need to do. Just make it simple. This player here, or your team is doing this. We need to change behaviour. So.
There'll be also, Jowsey, there'll be the odd occasion where you could possibly have a trend and you haven't warned them, but it's enough just to bang a card, like without even giving a warning or anything. So it's again once, rugby brain. Yeah,
rugby brain. I mean, if there has been a few isolated penalties, and I mean, you just know when. They've made the break through to the line. They're 5 metres out. a player's just flopped in from the back. It's not a repeated infringement, but that's where we come back to a deliberate. It's a deliberate action to stop them scoring a try. That's where we need to go. That's where we need to go cards.
So even for my one, Polly was at my last game, and in the first 4.5 minutes, I had 3 offsides and 1 other penalty. And he just said to me on that third offside, you should have just carded him. Like, just card him, teach him a lesson.
Really?
Yeah, well, because the guys weren't just offside. So this was, and when I reflect back on the game, I 100% should have given the yellow card.
So it was in the first 4 minutes of the game?
First 4 minutes, so 4 penalties. 3 offsides and 1 for inside offside.
So he didn't suggest you should have a chat to the captain and
No,
say...
so I had a chat to the captain about the offside. The 1 penalty was just a one-off.
Oh, okay.
So I had a chat to him about 3 penalties for offsides in 4.5 minutes. But in saying that, their next penalty wasn't until I think the 12th minute or something after that.
Yeah.
So it worked, but he just said, like, in the context of that moment, he would have been happy for me to just bang him straight away with the yellow card.
Yeah.
So
you had issued a warning?
No, I hadn't.
You hadn't?
So instead of issuing the warning, he just said you could have just given the yellow card there.
Yeah.
Because their offsides weren't marginal, they
Yeah.
were like it was like daylight between, like they were standing on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Like that's how far they're offside, so he was like...
So it almost
It's
come
almost,
back into deliberate.
more
Yeah,
in a circle and deliberate.
Yeah. So, and like I say, it just comes down to, how you feel. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that, but Polly's refereed a hell of a lot more games than what I have, so...
And that's something that I didn't really think about until he said that to me, and now that I thought about it, there's probably been other situations where I could have done that as well, so it's just, I don't know, just running through things in your mind and making sure that you've got all bases covered, and when it does happen, you're like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable, like being comfortable being able to do that.
Yeah.
Another one of those kind of scenarios might be like if it's in the 22 and the team's attacking and you got, like, they're attacking and it looks like you could score a try, there's like 2 or 3 advantages for something all at the same time, so in the same play. That's another one where if they don't actually score that try, then you don't...
Yeah, I'm with you. If one team's trying to play and you've got 3 or 4 infringements within the same phase, then I wouldn't, on the end of that, then
Just
definitely.
hope they score a try and then you don't have to...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what you always aim for. Hopefully they score.
Just on this, how's our messaging as well? Something I worked on quite a lot last year was making sure that you're calm when you're actually talking to the captain as well. Because if you come across a little bit aggressive or you're angry, then they're just going to go, fuck, this ref's lost it, blah, 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 pressure's on him. Whereas if you just stay really calm and just deliver your message, this is what's going to happen if it happens again, do you understand? Boom, all that pressure goes onto that team, it's off you, and that was something I had to work on quite a bit, just because I felt the pressure was on me sometimes when the penalty count was creeping, but you got to put it back on the team.
Yeah, and that's the same with ARs. Like if you're, if you're delivering needing to deliver a message to the referee, if you flag something or you've got anything, do it. Just try and, I guess for experienced referees and newcomers, if it's a newcomer delivering a message, then obviously just try and keep them calm and, because, I had an instance on the weekend where I could see my AR was uncomfortable with him. He had the sideline in the background. He was uncomfortable coming to me. I just said to him, mate, just relax. It's, what have you got? You got a number? He goes, yeah, I've got a number. So you got a mark? And I just pretty much asked him his recommendation and we went from there. It was only a penalty, but I could tell he was quite uneasy about it because he was copping some flag from behind him. So, just try and make those guys feel a little bit comfortable.
Jowsey, that's a good captain will pick up on that too, on that messaging. If the message is good, the captain's picking up good. Good captains do.
Yep. That's role play. I don't think we need to go down the path of role play. So in summary, repeated and deliberate infringements are not the same thing. Be very clear on how many are too many and how that applies to the level of the game. clear on how long till that warning expires. I don't believe we need to deliver that message to any captains or anything like that, but I guess when it says clear on how long, as in how long in your own mind, whether rugby's been played since you last gave that penalty, or whether rugby hasn't been played. Message to captains must clearly explain what needs to change. Be specific about consequences, but ensure options are still exist. Message to be easy for the captain to explain to the team. All right. Any other questions around trends? Anything else? Mr. Johnson, you're very quiet.
Excellent job.
I think pretty much wraps it up, guys. So, yeah.